Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's session for Legend Real Estate Trust. It is June 2025, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. So, Legend is a REIT that is focused on acquiring multifamily properties anywhere across Canada and helping everyday Canadians to build effortless wealth through real estate. So we're going to jump right in over into our agenda next. So for today's webinar, I'm going to speak to the people who are in the crowd that are tired landlords, exhausted landlords who are sick of landlording. So I can relate to this with you guys. I've been a landlord for 20 years now. And as much as some people might believe that it's passive, it is not. Talk to any landlord who has tenants and you'll quickly understand that it is not so passive to be a landlord. So I'm going to offer you guys a couple different options, maybe some different ways on how you can transition from being so hands-on in your business to more hands-free, passive investing. The second group of investors that I'm going to speak to this afternoon is people who are brand new. Most people understand that you should be investing into real estate and that this is often one of the best paths forward to creating multi-generational wealth and just securing, family finances for the future. However, it's hard to get started. You don't necessarily know where to begin or what types of properties to select or even market selection. There's a lot to investing into real estate. So I'm going to give some options and to people who are brand new and maybe just considering investing into real estate. And then, of course, for the seasoned investors who are on today's webinar, do you have tired or underperforming RSPs that maybe you would like to self-direct and diversify your existing real estate investing portfolio? Going to provide some options here for that type of investor who is also on the call. And then, of course, we'll talk about Legend in our offering and more specifically what sets us apart. So if you take away one thing from today's webinar, just one thing, is that you don't have to choose between building wealth and living well, okay? You can do both. I promise you this. And you just need the right model, you need the right partners, and of course, the courage to take action today. So I want to start with a little bit of a story here. I've been a landlord and investor for 20 years now. Now, up on the screen here, I've kind of got a grody picture. What type of bug do you guys think this is? Go ahead and drop it in the chat. Let me know if you recognize this nasty little bug. Bedbug. Bedbug. Ew. Yes. Ew is right. So this is a bed bug. So I want to tell you guys a story about when I first became a landlord. I was 21 years old, and one of my very first tenants, who I was renting a room to up above us, had brought bed bugs into our property. So Marty and I had created a basement apartment where we were living, and there was 3 bedrooms up above us that we were renting out to tenants. And one of our very first tenants, when he moved into the property, apparently picked up a bed bug off the moving truck. Now, this wasn't a grody guy. He was an international engineering student, very clean cut, but had brought bed bugs into our house. And anybody who has dealt with this type of situation, you're forced to become an expert in bed bugs very, very quickly in order to try and resolve this. So, a couple fun facts. Do you guys know how many eggs one bed bug can lay at once? Drop it in the chat. Give me a guess. How many eggs do you think one bed bug, one nasty little bug, can lay? Are you guys gonna play a game with me, or should I just tell you? 100. Eileen thinks it's 100. It's more. It's like 300 eggs all at once. So this quickly becomes a problem if you have one that comes into a rental property, and extra grody if you are living in that same rental property. And do you guys know how many times you have to fumigate a house or a unit in order to get rid of the bed bugs? Because, of course, there is a cycle that is associated with this. It is not one spray. How many times do you think it is? Okay, Mr. Steele or Mrs. Steele thinks at least twice. Okay, Joanne says 10 times. Yeah. Any other guesses? It's at least four, is what exterminators have told me, and has been our experience in dealing with this particular bug. Now, I remember back when we were experiencing this for the first time, and I said to Marty, like, wow, is this a sign that maybe we shouldn't be landlords and we shouldn't be dealing with these types of issues? Now, of course, when we got started, everybody said, "Oh, don't do it. It's so hard. It's so risky." And, all these big red flag warning signs. People thought we were crazy that we were going to get into becoming landlords. But we made a decision in that moment and we said, okay, anytime that we are presented with a challenge, we're going to work together, find a solution, overcome it, and we're going to continue a path forward. Because we still recognize in that moment that, yeah, now we're dealing with this nasty bed bug situation. We still knew that we were living for rent free in our property. And we had three tenants that were living above us that were paying the mortgage for us. And we were actually in a cash flow positive position. We went on to, own this property for a number of years. We completed a refinance, we extracted some equity, and we went on to buy three more houses with that particular property. So the moral of the story is that, landlording is not glamorous. It's not for the faint at heart, but of course, if you persevere and you look at all these challenges as opportunities to learn and grow, then you feel like you can climb mountains, you can move mountains. So, I definitely wanted to, just share with you guys a little bit of a fun story there about bed bugs and to make sure you're awake and paying attention. So, moving on here, the reason why we invest into real estate is because of this little guy here that you can see on the screen. So Marty and I, we've got a son. We've been together for I think 24 years now, or something crazy like that. But we've been building our family business since our early 20s, and the reason why we invest into real estate is because we want to spend more time with our family, with our friends. We're creating that multi-generational wealth, not just for our children, but for our extended family as well, is what we're building. We wanted the opportunity to truly take control of our own future. And at the end of the day, money gives you freedom. Okay. So, if you've got your finances taken care of, then this is what gives you the freedom to spend your time on things that you truly love. And, what really inspires us to keep going when the going gets tough, because it does, is that we're really focused on trying to help as many families as possible who have similar goals to be able to achieve that freedom through investing in real estate. And that's exactly what we do at Legend Real Estate Trust. So the last 20 years of investing experience, what I bring to the table is a great deal of business experience and business leadership from my previous employment positions over all these years. Investor relations. We have almost always worked with investors since the beginning of our career, whether it be private lenders, joint venture partners, shareholders, that we've always worked with investor capital throughout all of our deals over the last 20 years. So we've got a great deal of experience working with hundreds of happy investors. And excuse me, I'm happy to share with you that we've never lost $1 of investor capital throughout our entire career. And many of our investors are repeat investors that they've worked with us for a number of years, and they continue to work with us on multiple of projects because they're happy with the returns that we've produced and they feel safe, their investment feels safe, and they continue to trust and move forward into the future with us. Now, I also bring a great deal of coaching experience. So, in my earlier career, I was a real estate coach. So, not only do I have experience through my own eyes of investing into real estate, but I've coached hundreds of other investors to get multiple views from people from all across the country about different strategies, different markets, what works, what doesn't work, challenges, solutions, etc. And what Marty brings to the table is 20 plus years of construction experience. Now, he's a certified carpenter by trade, which, as you can imagine, was extremely beneficial in our earlier career. He used to do all of the renovations for us at one time, and since has grown to more contracting role and to overseeing teams and just really having that expert eye for the condition of our properties. He is the lead on our team for property selection, for market selection, and for underwriting. So Marty loves to run the math. He loves to really get into the pro forma of properties. And this is definitely where he shines as our current acquisition manager and CEO of Legend Real Estate Trust. We've got a track record of completely transforming distressed properties or underperforming buildings into turnkey properties that are high performing assets. We also have really honed in on acquiring turnkey properties and getting them to perform to the highest level to produce incredible returns for our investors. And that's our current strategy that we focus on right now is the turnkey asset class and getting them to perform. Really focusing on, that boring, predictable real estate is what we're after right now within Legend. We have blended, a great deal of experience with practical knowledge and, of course, emotional intelligence. So our ability to manage projects and people is something that we have definitely gained a lot of skill in over these 20 years, these 2 decades of real estate investing experience. And we're absolutely passionate about helping everyday Canadians become real estate investors or existing real estate investors grow their portfolio without, of course, sacrificing your family, your career, your time, without ever needing to swing a hammer to do any of this stuff on your own. And certainly you won't need to deal with bed bugs as a Legend investor, that we handle all of that work on your behalf. So I'm going to pause for a second and just pop into the chat here. I see that I've got quite a few comments, and I just want to make sure that if you guys have questions as we go, I'm certainly happy to jump in and answer questions. Oh, okay. Maybe. I don't necessarily see some questions here, so we're good. So we're just going to jump forward here and speak to the tired and busy landlords in this group. So maybe just let me know in the chat who is an existing landlord and owns, 1, 3, 10 rental properties right now. Go ahead and let the group know if you are an existing landlord. I know I recognize a couple names here in the chat, so let's see if you guys are being shy or if you want to share here with us. Okay, R Steele, yeah, he's been selling off his properties. Okay, Ryaz has 6 properties as well, so great deal of experience. Dallery, existing landlord with 8 doors. Okay, so quite a bit. Eileen has a short-term rental, which is incredible. Austin, I have my basement rented out. Amazing. So quite a wide variety of existing landlords and existing experience. So I definitely know through coaching investors over these last 20 years that you've probably heard this a lot, that real estate investing is passive, which, I mean, technically it's true, but ask any landlord if it feels like it's passive to chase your rents, to do any renovations, maintenance, repairs, etc. How passive that actually feels when you're working your evenings, when you're working your weekends, when you're working your holidays, etc. So we've worked with landlords over all of these years who are ready to sell their properties just to get their time back so that they can spend their time with their families accordingly. So many of our legend investors are existing landlords, and many people are in this position right now where they're saying, do I need to sell off my portfolio in order to become a passive investor, or is there, a good way to do both? Like, what is right for me? And the answer here on today's webinar is truly it depends. Everybody does have an individual situation. So with me being a real estate coach for the last 20 years, I'd be happy to connect with you one-on-one, have a look at your specific situation, because a lot of it depends. Is, are you in your 20s? Are you just starting off with your career? Are you, kind of middle-aged right now and you've got young kids in a super busy family? Or are you approaching retirement? So you might want to look at your overall portfolio and say, does it make sense for you to be landlording from that hands-on position? Or does it make sense to start transitioning towards passive investing? So, something I want to share with you guys here is one of the most common ways that existing landlords start to transition into passive investing. And that is by leveraging your existing rental properties equity in order to grow your portfolio. So here's just a quick example that I've thrown up on the screen here, that if you have an existing rental property that is, say, worth $800,000, and again, this is a fictitious example, you'd have to plug in your own numbers. Typically, you can go up to 65% loan to value if you're going to add some secondary financing onto this property. So that means on an $800,000 property, you could potentially have financing of $520,000. Now, let's imagine you've got an existing mortgage of $350,000 already. You can leave that alone. You don't need to touch it. But what you could do, and working with a mortgage broker, of course, is you could put a HELOC on that property. So HELOC stands for Home Equity Line of Credit. And this could give you access to up to another $170,000 from that one rental property that you've already got. So this means that you don't need to sell your property. You can leverage the equity. It brings you up to that 65% loan to value. And now you've got your hands on $170,000 that you can turn around and use for another investment. So, this is where you say, okay, well, what am I going to do with that 170,000? Do you go buy another rental property with it? I mean, maybe if you've got the time and the capacity to do so. Or should you invest that into passive investing and plant these little seeds and get, that capital working for you without it costing you any more time or energy that you've already been spending into your existing property. So this is, again, the most common strategy that I see existing investors use in order to grow their portfolio one way or another. And again, I'm very happy to look at your individual situation with you. So all of the existing landlords, go ahead, book a call with me. I think Sam just put, okay, perfect. She put my calendar link into the chat there. So go ahead, book a call with me. Let's chat. It's a no pressure call. I'll have a look at what your existing portfolio is and offer you some guidance and to say, how can you maneuver based on your current equity position? Now, our next group of investors here that I want to connect with is our brand new investors. So again, people who have never invested in real estate before, but you know that this is probably a pathway to success, but you don't know where to start. These are more so common mistakes that I see new people making. And again, just referencing back my 20 years of coaching people through real estate investing. Number one mistake here is waiting for the perfect time. There's no perfect time to invest into real estate. And what you'll notice is most people say, well, I wish I invested 5 years ago. I wish I invested 1 year ago. That really the best time to invest in real estate was yesterday. And the next best time to invest into real estate is today. So historically, property values and real estate investing has gone up and down, all the way up, 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 up for the last 40 plus years in the Canadian real estate market. So, looking for that perfect time, it doesn't exist. So getting into it as soon as possible is always going to be my recommendation to anybody who's brand new. Second is overloading on stocks and ignoring diversification. So, commonly people go to the bank or they've got RSPs and they say, hey, what should I do? They connect with somebody at the bank and they put their money into, publicly traded investments, and then they expect that they're going to have enough come time that they're 65 and ready to retire. But you know, newsflash is that if you're only investing into the public markets, it might not be it might not be enough. Okay, come time that you're 65 and you're ready to invest. So, is there a better way? And investing into private real estate often offers an additional way to invest in it, like in addition to the public markets. I wouldn't say all eggs in one basket, but private real estate investing can often accelerate your overall equity and diversity within your own portfolio. And trying to go at it alone. So if you've got a partner or a spouse that you can invest in, great. But many times over the years, I found commonly that one part of the relationship says, I want to invest into real estate, I want to do this, and the other spouse is saying, I don't think so, that's risky, that's scary, I don't want to do it. So going at it alone can be very frightening, from even within your family unit. Now, building the right team to figure out how to go about it. Let's say you're saying, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and invest into real estate. But how do you select which realtor to use? How do you select, your mortgage broker? How do you even know what market to be investing into? How about even property insurance, property management, etc.? Going about it alone can seem scary, and that's because there's a lot of moving pieces here. So, having that right team in place, that right guidance to offer is super critical and can really, accelerate you towards successfully investing into real estate. Underestimating the power of passive income is something that new folks often overlook. Now, just because you're new and you're getting into real estate investing doesn't mean that you can't start with passive investing. And most people that I speak to, they say, well, I didn't even know that this was an option for investing into real estate. How could it be possible that I could own a piece of real bricks and mortar and have tenants and own equity in properties without ever needing to spend time on it from a completely passive position? And it's true. You absolutely can invest into real estate passively with as little as $10,000. So oftentimes the passive route is a faster way for you to get into the real estate investing market. In, today's market, you're not likely to buy a property on your own with a $10,000 down payment. So to consider a passive option, a passive route that allows you to enter into the real estate market with that lower barrier to come into it, definitely offers some newbies, some beginners into real estate, some great opportunities to even just get started. And not having that clear long-term plan can often prevent people from saying, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I've chosen here. But it's not just about the ROI or the returns. It's, again, fitting in line with your goals, fitting in line with your current life situation here. You don't necessarily want to buy yourself a job and now suddenly you're working day in and day out with your regular day job. Maybe you've got a family, some extracurricular activities, and now your real estate investing is really taking you away from the things that you want to do more of. So, just being really clear about what is super important to you. And there's always going to be some kind of a trade-off here. So, understanding that once again, there are those passive options that might better fit in with your goals and just your overall life planning. And the next investor, profile, let's say, that Legend often works with are the seasoned investors. So, if you already own several rental properties, or maybe you've already invested into a REIT or private securities or passive investing, then again, that diversification within your portfolio, I'm sure you already recognize and understand the importance here. So oftentimes seasoned investors come to me and say, "Hey, I've got my cash invested into rental properties that I'm working on, but I do have RSPs that are underperforming or a little bit stale. Can I self-direct my RSPs into private real estate?" And the answer is yes, you absolutely can. So when we look at, a balanced portfolio, we look at, cash, of course, is easy to understand, investing into bonds, stock, shares, mutual funds, and of course, hard assets of real estate, commercial, residential, land, mortgage, equity. That your portfolio is going to be made up of these different types of investing. And the percentages of each of these type is going to be based on your risk tolerance, amount of capital that you've got available, your goals, your long-term plans, etc. But a lot of people are still unaware of the private sector, a private REIT, private securities. And investing into something like Legend Real Estate Trust allows investors to subscribe to Class A trust units within our mutual fund trust. So, again, when we're looking at the private securities, it isn't something that is common knowledge as an additional piece to your existing portfolio. And at Legend, you can self-direct any Canadian registered account and keep all of your tax shelter benefits and invest into our investment trust. So this means if you've got our RSP, TFSA, our ESP, LIRA, any Canadian registered account, you can self-direct and invest, excuse me, those funds into Legend. So here's my offer to you. Excuse me. So here's my offer to you. I'm not offering you a class. I'm not offering you coaching or, a course, although I always mix a little coaching in with my calls. This is a real vetted opportunity that you can explore, that you can partner with us on a multifamily project without ever becoming a landlord. Okay. So going back to our personas here, when people ask me about investing into real estate, I have to be honest with them and I have to let you know that it's hard and it's going to take more time than maybe you understand from the beginning. But there's a better way. You can invest into real estate without ever becoming a landlord. You would get access to the same systems and strategy and support and just everything that we've learned between Marty and I over the last 20 years. And we take all of this experience and we implement it into all of our successful projects to protect every single dollar of investor capital. We do all the heavy lifting. We do the underwriting. We do the acquisitions, if there's renovations, just overall management. That you guys have the opportunity to come in on investments with us, that we do all the work, and you guys don't need to do a thing other than commit and invest into the fund. You get real equity ownership and, of course, peace of mind and ongoing access to Marty and I as well. So here's what that looks like. From an overall structure perspective, you guys have the opportunity to invest into Legend Real Estate Trust by way of subscribing to our Class A trust units. Currently, our trust units are $10 each, but our price is just about to go up as of June 30th. So the last day of the month to purchase units at $10 each is June 30th. So as of July 1st, our price has increased. Our minimum investment to commit is $10,000, and our targeted annual returns are 15 to 20%. Now, this includes an 8% cash flow payment that can either be distributed to you quarterly or you can participate in our DRIP program, which is a dividend reinvestment program. So you can receive your cash flow or you can reinvest it into the fund, and we offer a 2% incentive if you want to do that DRIP program. You can use your RRSP, your TFSA, your LIRA, any Canadian registered account. You can self-direct and invest those funds into Legend. It's a straightforward process, and we help you to get all of that set up. And for Legend, this is available to eligible and accredited Canadian investors. Now, our friends in Quebec must meet accredited status. So if you're, curious or you're interested, please, the next step is to go ahead and book a call with me, and we'll have a look at what are your goals, what are your interests, and, could this be a suitable investment for you? And we invest in Ontario. Although Legend is set up to invest anywhere across Canada, there's a couple main points. While Ontario remains our top market to invest so far, we have exclusively focused on Waterloo, Guelph, and London, and these markets have continued to perform throughout our entire career. This combines that student rental demand, employment stability, low vacancy, often below 2% as per CMHC stats, and also that boost in growth in these particular markets. We provide deep local expertise in these markets. This is where we've always invested for that accurate underwriting and success with tenant management, etc. And so that we can maintain that boots on the ground management style, scalable investing, and of course, that systematized approach is why we continue to invest in Ontario markets. Now, a couple of really important key points here is that we are acquiring a multifamily property that is an exclusive opportunity here, that this is in a high demand Ontario University City in Waterloo, Ontario, with extremely low vacancy rates. This is a stabilized cash flowing asset that has already undergone a major repositioning with complete tenant turnover. So we truly are taking over that turnkey cash flowing asset. And it's located within walking distance of major employers such as Google. We're on a bus route, a transit route, or a train route, excuse me, right by the Grand River Hospital. And we're less than 10 minutes from Wilfrid Laurier University, the University of Waterloo, Conestoga College, etc. So when we're looking at the exclusivity of this particular investment, this is checking all the boxes of what you want in real estate investing. And we do have limited space available. So we are 80% funded right now. And again, our current unit price is $10 per unit, but that's going up as of July 1st. So now is the very best time to act if you want to get in at that $10 per unit price. And keep in mind, again, the minimum investment is $10,000 to come into Legend. So a disclaimer here. It's important that all investors and everybody who's on the call here understands that we do have an offering memorandum that you will want to review before committing to any type of investment with Legend. Like all investments, this one comes with risk, and it's important that you fully understand before moving forward with this type of private security. We do want to say a big thank you from the entire Legend team. So here's a picture of us in case you're not familiar. Myself, obviously, and my husband and business partner, Marty, in the photo here. He's in our forests cutting down trees or something like that right now. And then we've also got Christina up here on the screen. She is our marketing manager. So if you've seen any of our social media, Facebook or Meta advertising, all of those beautiful pieces are coming through Christina. And then we also have Sam, our investor relations manager. So if you've called, emailed, or text with us, then Sam is definitely likely to be your main point of contact on the other end, and she helps investors to come through their entire onboarding process with Legend. We are a lean, mean team, and we want to thank you for joining us on today's webinar. I'm going to put this up here in terms of next steps. If you are interested to learn more, to move forward with Legend, please book a call with me. I've opened up my calendar over the next week so that we've got some extra appointment times available for all of you. You can scan the QR code that's up on the screen here, or Sam or Christina will drop the direct link into the chat. You can go ahead and click on that. When you book a call, it'll be one-on-one with me directly, and we'll just have a chat. We'll have a look at, your existing portfolio if you've got one. We'll talk about your investing goals, and we'll certainly answer any questions that you've got about Legend. Then if you choose to move forward, then of course we'll talk about what those immediate steps look like after that. You can find out more information about Legend on our website, or you can email us if you've got some direct questions there as well. So please, as a next step, I would say book a one-on-one call with me. Let's chat and we can take it from there. So I'm going to leave that up on the screen for a little while here. I'm going to peek into our chat. Okay. So Belkis is asking the minimum time commitment. There's no real minimum time commitment here, that ideally investors come in for a 5-year period. But if you do need to leave before the 5-year period, then you would submit for your redemption. And then there are just some small redemption fees that would apply if you're leaving. And that redemption fee goes down over the 5-year period. But if you stay in for 5 years, there's no more redemption fee. And then we've got a question in the Q&A here saying, if I invest using registered funds, can I later switch to cash? And my answer to that is, I would need to check with my EMD about the logistics of switching what's funding your investment on the back end. So I'm actually not sure. So that was an anonymous question. So I would encourage you to reach out to us directly, info@legendinvestments.ca, so that we can seek the answer for you and provide you with accurate information. And then Joanne, when does cash flow start? So we are just about to close on that first property in Waterloo that I was describing. So we'll be closing in July or August. So after we've closed on that property, we're going to run it for its first quarter, and then the cash flow distributions will begin. And then after that, the cash flow will be paid out on a quarterly basis if you want to receive the cash flow. Or again, you've got that opportunity to participate in the DRIP program, that dividend reinvestment program. And it just means instead of receiving your cash flow, I would issue you additional shares for that value, and you get a 2% incentive to do the DRIP program. And then James is asking for the unit price increase. How is that calculated and regulated? So we do have, Marty and I are the trustees of the fund. So we have final decision and control over the unit price. And there's multiple advisors that we have on our team, from our EMD, our legal team, our accounting team as well, that all participate in these big decisions for our fund. The price will increase as we add more properties into Legend. So as we're moving forward into closing our property, which we're doing right now, and looking forward to our second acquisition, this is what's triggering that current unit increase. And then each month that we're paying down the mortgage, we're actually increasing the equity within our fund. If we're increasing rents at our buildings, then this is also increasing the value of our building, which in turn should be reflected in the share price. And then as we go towards into the future, we've got some passive appreciation, then this is also reflected in our unit price as well. And right now, Dalerie, we are targeting an ROI of 15 to 20% annually, and it's made up through two components. So the first is the cash flow element. So that's 8% cash flow, that preferred return that is paid out on a quarterly basis. And then we're expecting to see about 7 to 12% in equity growth. So, for example, if you're coming in now, you would be purchasing units at $10 per unit. If we're able to achieve a 12% growth, then that means those units would then become worth $11.20 per unit. So that's how our targeted returns of 15 to 20% are calculated. 8% cash flow, 7 to 12% is targeted for our equity appreciation. And mathematically, if we're able to achieve that 20% annual return, this means you've effectively doubled your investment within a 5-year period. And then another investor question, are the properties appraised and who does the appraisal? So yes, properties are definitely appraised through, CMHC approved appraisers. And yeah, so it would be a combination of appraisal reports, also understanding local cap rates as well. We all understand that an appraisal is not an end all be all. This is typically one particular opinion about the value of a building. There's lots of different ways that we can assess the overall building value. This is where, again, we lean on our team of advisors, and Marty as our acquisition manager, our underwriter. Then he definitely calculates when he's looking at building value. The appraisal report is definitely factored in when determining property value. Let's see, I just want to make sure I'm not missing anyone. So this investment, Dallery's asking, would be on this particular building? And the answer is no. Legend investors subscribe into the trust. So that means that you're not investing into one particular building. You're actually investing into that building plus all future acquisitions as well. So it's another way that it further, mitigates risk for investors, that you're not all eggs in one basket. By nature of investing into multifamily, you're already adding some diversity to your investment, softening out risk factors, but adding in more buildings into a fund helps to blend out that risk as well. So you would be investing into a growing portfolio of properties. Okay, so I'm told that the QR code might not be working on the screen here. So Sam, Christina, maybe you want to drop the link again in the chat just so that it is readily available for everybody. So everyone, please go ahead and copy and paste that or click directly on there. So you can click on that link there that is in the chat in order to book a call with me for a one-on-one. So Dallery, yeah, so it's not working. So go ahead and click the link there to book a call with me. So I've opened up my calendar over the next week so that I can connect with as many investors as possible before we have that unit price increase at the end of the month. Okay, just checking again here. And I see a question here about, kind of comparing our REIT to some other REITs that are in the market there as well. I can't really speak to the structure or some of the other private REITs out there, but what I can speak to is our business model and how we mitigate risk and, target those returns of 15 to 20%. That we focus on what we believe are the best investing markets in Ontario, potentially across Canada. That mitigating vacancy rates is huge for real estate investing. You hear the location, 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 and it's absolutely true that you want to be investing into cities that have universities, healthcare, tech industries is really where we have historically been very successful with investing into real estate. We do have access to the best financing right now with our acquisition that's closing in July, August, that it will be a CMHC MLI Select Mortgage is what we've been qualified for. And yeah, so we do have access to, who we believe are the best people on our team from a realtor, mortgage broker perspective, that we definitely take advantage of the best financing that we've got access to. And again, really focusing in the turnkey type of properties. We've done mass renovations before, but we found that, we can come in, we can buy a turnkey existing, already built multifamily property that is, close to market rents or at market rents, and still get these properties to perform. So that's exactly what we've got on our hands with our Waterloo property, that we're expecting to be cash flowing from the day of closing. And this building has already gone through a complete renovation, a complete repositioning. So again, it's just one more way that we mitigate risk and protect investor capital. Yeah, and you can definitely reach out if you've got any questions, just info@legendinvestments.ca. You can send us an email there, but certainly just go ahead and book a one-on-one with me, that we can chat one-on-one for a call. And if you had clicked on a Calendly link maybe earlier this week from one of our emails that had gone out. Calendly is our calendar system, and they went down earlier this week. So you might need to clear your cache for that link to actually work, or open it through your phone or a different device that that you're that you work from. And then we've got one of our investors, Austin. So yeah, if you've already invested through your RSP, you went through Equivesto to do that. That's right. Equivesto is the EMD. If you're looking to top up or do another investment, then yes, you go directly through your Equivesto account, and the transaction will be directly through the Equivesto portal. You don't need Olympia Trust. That's the piece that would be removed from the transaction. But Anthony, if you want, Sam can reach out to you from our team and just reconnect you with our representative at Equivesto and make sure that that process is seamless and easy for you. Thank you, Colin. Yes, please reach out if you're interested to top up. Again, sooner is better than later. Let's get your paperwork submitted in advance of June 30th. June 30th is like the drop dead deadline. So let's not wait till the last day. If you can get it in today, tomorrow, that would be most ideal. But thank you for joining us, Colin. And hi, Leela. Yes, there's going to be a replay, a recording will be sent out to everybody once that's available. We will definitely send you a recording of today's webinar. Okay, amazing. So I'm going to leave the screen up here just for another couple of minutes here. So I'm just going to turn off my camera so I'm not looking at myself, but I will leave it up for a few more minutes if you wanted to get our email, info@legendinvestments.ca, or the website there. You also will have access into the chat. So maybe Sam, Christina, if you want to drop the Calendly link in the chat one more time, just so that it's one of the last messages in the thread if somebody wants to just go right ahead and book an appointment. If you're looking for a date and time that you don't see available in the next couple days, then you can email us as well, info@legendinvestments.ca, and just let us know if there's a specific time that you need that is not available